It says the webinar is now streaming live on YouTube. On my screen.
That's good.
Okay, it's live on YouTube. Okay.
Says the webinar is now streaming live on YouTube.
Okay, it's live on YouTube. Okay. Yeah, we are live on YouTube. That's for sure.
Randy, will you press on the recorder, or I could do that here?
I'll record it because I have some other stuff to do for Ben. Okay, I'm going to start recording now.
Okay.
Says the webinar is now streaming live on YouTube.
Yeah, we are good. Yeah, we are live on YouTube. That's for sure.
Randy, will you press on the recorder, or I could do that here?
It's recording because I have some other stuff to do for Ben.
Okay, Howard, I can go ahead and start the meeting.
Yes.
Okay, with the time being 6:39 p.m., I call the Blue Island Plan Commission meeting to order. Just to start the meeting off, public notice was given that a Plan Commission meeting is scheduled to be held remotely on Thursday, April 2nd, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. as permitted by Executive Order 2020-07, which was signed by Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker on Monday, March 16th, 2020 in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Members of the public are free to participate in this meeting remotely. They can download the app, the Zoom Cloud Meetings app, or they can call area code 312-626-6799. The Planning Commission webinar meeting ID is 393-298-410. With that being said, I'll go ahead and do a roll call. Chairman Patoska is here.
Eric Polcaster here.
AJ Weir here.
Ron Bloom here.
David Cloud here.
Toni Ebeling here.
Jason Berry.
Thank you. Next is public comment. I'm sorry, we have a quorum. Quorum is present remotely, and we are able to move forward. Next item is public comment on the agenda. Are there any participants wishing to comment publicly on the items of the agenda this evening?
I would like to comment. I'm Charles Comerford. I'm on the agenda.
Go ahead, Mr. Comerford.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. I am the
stop for a moment?
owner. I beg your pardon?
We need to stop for a moment. We need to go over, if no one from the public needs to say anything, then we could go over the minutes that I sent. They cannot be approved because I missed the deadline for posting it, but I wanted to get the Zoom information up so everyone had a fair time amount to get online and to ask questions. So I sent the minutes earlier today. Did people have a chance to review them?
Yes.
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 Okay, any comments, any suggestions, or they're fine?
No comments or suggestions at this time.
All right.
Yeah, they appear to be fine.
Thank you. I'll resubmit the minutes in our next meeting, so we'll probably have 2 minutes we're going to have to approve. But this minute that I posted earlier today is the closing of the cannabis stuff. Remember, we had 2 special meetings in 12/12/19 and 01/06/20. So those minutes, the minutes that we were looking at today, was closing out the cannabis that, the planning commissioners reviewed it. We had a quorum and they approved the minutes, and the minutes then were posted on the website for the public to view. This was in regards to the cannabis one. So I'd like to speak about new business, case 1. This was the commission was gonna meet on a special use to allow for an auto body fender shop and automobile repair shop in the general industrial district I-2 with a special use for a used car dealer via the commercial district C1 designation. Basically, what the applicant wanted to do here was to create a one-stop business facility where he was going to repair vehicles, engine and body work, and sell vehicles via the internet. Of course, this business would have been located in the general industrial district in Blue Island. I've been communicating with the applicant late Friday of last week and earlier this week. He was withdrawing the application. And over here, I have the information that I created as a PDF from the email communication. So I like to just verbally read this into the record so then we could start our second case. So he writes, "Hello, Howard. I'm officially withdrawing your special use application for 13242 through 13844 South Harrison Avenue. At this time, we and the owner could not reach an agreement. Thanks for the amazing effort during this time." So this is email confirmation that he's officially withdrawing the first case. So now I'll give the microphone back to the chairman.
Okay, so I mean, I'm sorry, Mr. Comerford, were you wishing to speak on item number 2 under new business? Or were you
If you give me the opportunity, I would like to speak, yes.
Sure. So, okay, so just going through the agenda. So, Mr. Comerford will be speaking on on item number 2 on the agenda. So there's no other public comment, correct? So no old business. Mr. Howard Kapari discussed item number 1 on the agenda being withdrawn by the applicant. So now we're on to item number 2 under new business. So the commission will review an owner's request for a special use to allow for a retail and personal service establishment in the limited industrial district I-1 via the commercial district C1 designation. Tire repairs and tire sales will be done at this business location, which is situated in a limited industrial district neighborhood. So now we're on this topic, on this agenda item. So this is the Jeans Drive-In Dry Cleaners located on Vincennes Avenue. And this is Lopez Tire wishing to move from their current location of High Street and Western Avenue to the Jeans Drive-In Cleaners. Do the members of the commission have any questions on this? Mr. Kapari has given the staff memo on this and some other additional information. Any questions?
None at this time.
Mr. Comerford, would you like to speak on this item?
I would just like to thank everybody for the opportunity of talking tonight. It's pretty self-explanatory. We had our business in Blue Island for 43 years, and my daughter had a stroke, so we had to go out of business in October. And I had different people approach me about occupying that property. And to be honest with you, I was kind of selective because I felt that we had an obligation to Blue Island. And Mr. Lopez seemed like the best fit. He's been in business for 18 years. A lot of people like him, and I'd be happy if he were to take our spot.
That's all, Mr. Comerford?
Yes, unless you
Okay.
have any questions for me.
Okay, thank you very much.
May I ask a question?
Sure, Mr. Bloom.
Can I interject for a moment?
Yes.
This is kind of hard for the applicant since he's not able to see, he's calling in. So let me just go over a little bit of the application, so then we could start asking questions. I think that would be fair. I take it anyone who's online can see that I have a copy of the staff report up. So basically, Charles Comerford, who's the property and business owner of Jean's Drive-In Cleaners, is located in the Limited Industrial District on Vincennes. And just to go over a little bit of the requirements, notification requirements for this application has been satisfied. Legal notice was published in the Daily Southtown, and a sign was posted on the property with permission from Charles Comerford to put it inside the shop. In my staff analysis, what I speak about is Mr. Comerford is the business owner of Jean's Drive-In Cleaners, which is located at 12401 Vincennes in Blue Island, and he's interested in selling the property to Jesus Lopez, who owns Lopez Taco Shop at 2407 York Street. Mr. Comerford would like to sell his zoning parcel. So let me speak about the zoning parcel in greater details. Under the state statutes, if there are multiple pins or properties, for zoning purposes, we call it as a zoning parcel. We treat it as one entity, but in reality, there are 3 pins, which was demonstrated in the application and in the plat of survey and other stuff, and I have listed here in the staff report. Mr. Lopez is a local and very popular business owner. Many people have used his tire repair shop for emergencies. I've been one of those before the year ended last year, so I can attest to that also. I'm one of the ones who have used his services. So just to speak a little bit about Jean's Drive-In Cleaner, it's an existing non-conforming business. It's located in the Industrial 1 zone. He's been a dry cleaner for many decades, like he said, 43 years. That's what I wrote after he mentioned it earlier in this conversation. And it's a non-conforming use that I was not able to find any justification or special uses from the past in the building files. So this is technically a non-conforming use. I go on to talk about a little bit about the non-conformity, so everyone is aware. If Mr. Comerford was selling the business, let's say to me, and I was interested in continuing the dry cleaning business, and this was done within a 6-month period, then I could have continued with the non-conformity. However, the person who's interested in purchasing this property would like to do tire replacement, repair, or tire selling. So it's listed as a retail and personal service establishment per the zoning code. Now, the zoning does not allow for this type of use in a limited industrial zone. So this is the reason why Mr. Comerford is the applicant, the business owner, property owner that's spearheading this special use on behalf of Jesus Lopez because of the language communication and, not being well-versed in the planning and zoning component of this. So that's the reason why there is a special use today. And like I mentioned in the beginning, right here in the staff report, since we don't allow for this type of a use in this zone, the zone is allowed, the zoning uses are allowed to revert back to other zoning districts. So this would be under the classification of C1, which allows for this use. However, the requirement is this is going to be a special use, and this is why the planning commissioners are hearing this case. Let's see. Mr. Comerford has submitted a copy, which I provided everyone via email, of the standards for the zoning classification. I worked with his standards and I inputted some of my comments and the zoning component of the standards for justification. And Mr. Comerford wanted to sell this business to a local Blue Island business owner. That's the reason why he's very interested in Mr. Lopez taking over the property and the existing business, which is going to be a new business license application naturally. This gives Mr. Lopez an opportunity to increase or expand his business. This will also move his business from the UTOD zone in the uptown area to an area that facilitates more vehicular traffic and commerce. So in other words, people have places to park their car if they have a flat tire, or if they choose to come to replace their tires with new tires. And what I've noted in my staff report is he has the opportunity, Mr. Lopez, to expand and do other stuff with his property. So one other thing I'd like to note, because of the planning and zoning component, Mr. Lopez, or Mr. Comerford's existing property, Mr. Lopez and the prospective property owner will be abutting two businesses to the north and the south that serves the automobile usage as well. To the north, he has WW Foreign Auto Parts, and to the south, he has Bob's Auto Body. Even though, you know, it's not a permitted use, what Mr. Lopez would like to do, it's allowed through the special use process, which we're hearing now. But in my staff report, I talk about this being a prospectively good use for being on a major thoroughfare for Blue Island, with plenty of space for parking and to provide customer service, places for people to sit or use the bathroom while the repairs of tires are being done. So now I open it back to Mr. Bloom with his question.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Howard, for that overview. I do appreciate that. And Mr. Comerford, or if I might call you Gene, as I have for many years, patronizing the establishment.
Yeah.
It's good to hear your voice. I've not seen you in a while, and sorry to hear about your daughter. But thank you for your many decades of support for Blue Island. And thanks for coming to this meeting to present the information. Howard, thank you for compiling the information and for doing the staff report. It was very complete, very detailed, very helpful from the perspective of understanding what was before us. I really I had just a couple of questions. First, on the intent for tonight's meeting, is it principally to approve the special use for this property relative to the future plans of it, or is it to approve the reclassification, if you will, and then the plans for Mr. Lopez to acquire the property and to open his business? That's item number one. Item number two are really just some more generalized questions regarding the site itself. Again, I'm interested to know more about what will happen with the parcels of the property. You know, I would agree with development that's in that area, and Bob's Auto Body. Certainly, I think, is a sterling example of having a business that is well landscaped. It's very clean. It's very orderly. I would expect that Mr. Lopez would follow suit from the perspective of landscaping and keeping the property upgraded. I know that the building that he's in now is very, very small. It's very cramped. He's been there for a number of years, so from a signage perspective, the sign is kind of, weather beaten. So moving into this property, I can understand the value and particularly the expansion. But again, this property itself has been around for a long time. So the parking lot itself, there's some crumbling asphalt within there. I noticed that on the overhang, it looks like maybe the corner got hit by a truck. So there's some damage from that. And I'm curious what, if any, plans there would be for the signage itself from from that perspective. So those are the kind of things I thought I'd bring to the meeting and maybe get some comment on.
Charles, do you want to speak on some of the stuff that Mr. Bloom, Commissioner Bloom mentioned?
Yes, I do. May I speak now?
Sure.
In a very, I think it was the second meeting with Mr. Lopez, he informed me that they planned on landscaping and making the area more receptive to his business. That was his concern. He also stated his commitment to Blue Island. I truthfully, from my heart, I think he's going to be I think it's going to be a good move for him and the city. I think that he sees an opportunity here. I've made financial concessions where he will be able to do that. And I really, truly, from my heart, think it's a good fit. To be honest with you, I forgot the next question, Mr. Bloom. If you want to readdress it, I believe it was in regards to the signage.
Yeah, there was just a couple of things. One is just the lots that are in the back there where you've got storage, and I'm not sure what all is back there, what the plans would be for that. And then just the general, the maintenance, the asphalt, the paving, the signage, that kind of thing. And I'm presuming I don't know, but if we're going to be having a separate meeting to talk about some of that, but just from your thoughts.
I'll address the storage issue. The people that are there are basically month to month. There aren't any leases, and it's similar to Bob's situation next door at Bob's Auto Body. He has storage spaces that he rents to local people. I have Mr. Garcia from Virgo Fence. He's a Blue Island resident. He's there. I have probably 3 Blue Island residences that have parked their equipment at my lot rather than in their neighborhood. And whatever Mr. Lopez chooses to do, I have no control over, but I assume and hope that he will continue the character of what we have there. In regards to the signage, I honestly don't know what the plans are for the signage, whether he's going to remove it or if he will have it refaced. I know that if he does, he's going to go through the city to do whatever's necessary to make it proper.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you. And I mean that from my heart.
So, Howard, a lot of those issues would be addressed when he apply. Would he be applying for a new business application then, or would he have some type of site plan that he would apply for? Or?
Well, in the business license application, he'll submit an architectural layout, floor plan. That's required by the new building official. It was always on the books. It was never really enforced. So he's going to provide that in the business license application process. There are 3 reviewers. Zoning would be me. And if the special use gets permitted, gets approved tonight, then I'm going to notate it. It was approved by a special use on such and such date by planning, zoning, community development committee, and city council. And then building and fire will do their review of the property, and they're going to go out to the site to see what needs to be repaired. So anything building related will be repaired either by the person who's selling the property or the person who's buying it. Most likely it'll be Mr. Lopez. In regards to the sign, I haven't had any communication with anyone with the sign. Most likely what the code says under the signage is we're suggesting a monument sign versus a pole sign. So changing the face would probably not be allowed per zoning. But that might be one of the things we'll lose is the historic, very Americana related sign. Maybe the Historical Society could take the sign if they want to keep it. But what has been the practice, especially with Community Development Committee, who oversees the signage enforcement, and they're the committee that reviews any signage variances. they're looking for compliance with the sign code. So just simply refacing the sign probably would not be allowed at this point. I'm also.
Any other questions from any of the members or anything?
Not any questions, but definitely comment. Mr. Comerford, this is AJ Weir. Thank you for bringing this to us. But yeah, everything you said, and even going through the standards for special use, I don't have any concerns. I know Mr. Lopez's tire shop well. I think this is an ideal location. I think it's an ideal situation, plenty of room, even up to the driveway with the overhang, just for cars to be able to pull in. I've seen so many times over there going for dinner at Maple Tree and whatnot where, you know, it's pouring rain and it's not an ideal situation for citizens when they're going and dropping off their car, and them having to pull in a car, pull out a car, one car at a time. I just think I think it's a good idea to always somebody that's already been established and proven in Blue Island, give them an opportunity to expand and grow. And for me personally, I think this makes a lot of sense.
Any other questions, comments? Do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Comerford, this is David Brown. I just wanted to further back up what AJ said and what Mr. Bloom said, and that first and foremost, we're terribly sorry to hear about your daughter, and thank you for your decades of service to this community. I couldn't agree more. If unfortunately Jean's has to leave, I think it's ideal that we would have it transfer from one existing Blue Island business to another, one that would be able to expand and further better serve the community better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve the special use to allow for a retail and personnel services establishment in the limited industrial I-1 via the commercial district C1 designation?
Ron
Make that
Bloom will.
motion.
Yeah, I think we all want to.
Yeah, take your pick.
It's a motion by Mr. Bloom, second by Mr. Berry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So is that 7-0, including Tony voting?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Congratulations, Mr. Comfort. We wish you the best of luck in the future with the sale of your property, and make sure you and your family take care.
I truly appreciate, and I love Blue Island, and I thank you for what you've done for me. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for what you've done for the community.
Next on the agenda is commissioner concerns. Any concerns from the commissioners or comments? There being none, move to adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Berry, second by Mr. Weir. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting's adjourned at 7:06 p.m.
Thank you, everyone.
Gentlemen.
Thanks, Howard. Thanks,
Stay
Randy,
well.
for organizing.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Howard.
Howard. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Guys, stay safe. Stay in good health.
Bye-bye.
Bye.